Sumit Chander, who's a lawyer, joining us. Sumit Chander, over to you on the workers who've been protesting relentlessly through the day. There've been, small, quick protests that have happened in the past where they've made their demands, but it weren't met. It seems like this time they've collaborated across associations and labor unions. They've collaborated, decided that they will bring Noida down to its knees. And that's exactly what they did today. And the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh says that this could be a conspiracy to hurt Noida's development. What's your view on this? Is there a legal way out for these laborers?
See, there's always a legal way out. In fact, protesting, peaceful protest, of course, it's your constitutional right, but not this kind of a protest. There are ways to get your demands met. You do your peaceful protest, move your representations before the appropriate government, ask the government, put your demands. If they are still not being heard, there are ways you can approach the court. But that process. Somehow, I think if you feel that taking to the roads and doing this kind of creating public nuisance would actually help them get a relief faster, would be a very wrong thing. And if this becomes a trend which becomes applicable throughout, I think it will just create an anarchy, which is wrong. I think there are processes. People should go through the proper channels. There are reliefs available for them. There are government with which you can make your representation. There are courts if those representations are not heard. So please, my appeal to all is that you please follow the due process in law and not do these kind of things what is being done today.
Okay. Sumit, a quick one. If you compare the demands that workers in Noida are making, compare that with what people in Haryana, for that matter, are getting. Is that not unfair? And why was this not addressed earlier on? And we see that clearly employers have waited to the last minute, waiting for violence like this to happen before they buckle. In fact, there's no promise still that's been made to change or correct their wage. But it's a clear discrimination when we compare what Uttar Pradesh is getting with states like Haryana. You see the numbers on our screens right there.
Very right. See, it's not about better or not better. What is being given, whatever new law is passed, one, of course, the applicability comes into question. It should be made applicable and executed in the right duration. But that is not the problem here. The problem what today I think is being faced is that if there is a demand of any sort, if you're unhappy with a certain law that has been passed, or if you're comparing it with another state and you're not very happy with what has been granted to you as compared to others, you have your remedies in law. You always can, by way of a writ petition, approach the Honorable High Court. It is your constitutional right in law. But instead of going to the court or moving a representation before the appropriate government, to get into hooliganism is something very, very wrong and should be discouraged. Because it cannot, if today it has happened and law order is not taken into control at this very initial stage.
We understand, but this is pent-up frustration. Or do you believe, like what Yogi Adityanath said, this is conspiracy? Conspiracy by who?
See, pent-up frustration or conspiracy, either ways. India is a country which has always believed in peaceful protest. Peaceful protest has never been into question. Today, if it has gone into a situation where the protests are getting aggressive, you cannot just simply blame it to a pent-up frustration. There can be, and there's always a possibility of various factors, including external factors as well. But the right assessment to make whether it is an external factor or it is a pent-up frustration is something which the police will finally figure out at the course of investigation. So that is yet to be decided or found out, and that the investigating authorities are already looking into that.
And I'd like for our viewers to have a little context on what exactly does states like Haryana and the rest pay for their laborers. If we could have that on our screens, please. The graphics that shows the comparison between Uttar Pradesh and Delhi, for example. Unskilled workers in Uttar Pradesh get about 10 to 13,000 a month, while unskilled workers in comparison in Delhi get 17,000 to 18,500 a month. That's clear disparity. If you can look at Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, the next state, let's rotate that, please. We're looking at Haryana there. The comparison again, 10,000 in Uttar Pradesh versus 12,000 for unskilled worker in Haryana.
2,000.
Right? And 2,000 is a lot for a laborer who's earning barely 10, 15,000. 2,000 is a lot. Maharashtra, 13,500 for unskilled worker versus 10,000 in Uttar Pradesh. So the disparity is huge. It should have been corrected earlier on. Even Karnataka is saying the same, paying the same, 13,000 for unskilled worker versus Uttar Pradesh. So this hurts, and it hurts bad. Sumit, could the lawyers have taken a legal route instead of indulging in such violence? And I don't know how far and long a legal fight will go on. None of those laborers or associations have bandwidth, money or clout to take this successfully with court.
No, I'll answer that in two parts. So far as the remedy in law is concerned and appointment of lawyers is concerned, I'm sure the labor unions are there to help and get this taken up in the court. Secondly, even if you still feel that yes, lawyers are difficult to engage, expensive to engage, you have legal aid to your rescue. So far as remedies in law is concerned, obviously you have a right to go about it. So far as the second point is concerned, the disparity in various states, please look at the country as a whole. It's divided into various states. Every state has to see their own budgets. They have to see the population of that state. And there are several other factors like this which the state government finally decides as to how to calculate a certain amount so far as such provisions are concerned. So I think it will not be very fair if we expect, and if that would have been the case, then it would have been a systematic standardization throughout the country, which is not the case. The central government has left it to each state government to finally decide what amount has to be given. So the disparity in amount can have various factors which will be very unfair for us to decide over a TV debate.
No, why not? Why not? I don't have time, but otherwise I would have got into the factors of it. How far and different would the factors be?
Well, there can be, like I said, various factors. Population. Uttar Pradesh is a very big state as compared to the state of Delhi, as what you were comparing it with. So the population is different. So there are various factors like the population, the size of the state, the budget of the state. So you cannot generalize it.
So then, if a laborer is listening to this, they would want to move to another state and work. Why would they want to stay in their home state if they're going to be paid short?
Like I said, even in that state, you have the remedies in law. You may approach the court. You may approach the government itself, saying that there is a disparity. But it is not fair to just say that only one side should be heard. I think both the sides should be heard. Both the factors needs to be considered. I'm in no manner saying what is being done is right in favor of the laborers or against the laborers. But I'm saying both the parties in law should be heard, which goes by the legal maxim, audi alteram partem. Every party should be heard.
Okay. Yeah.